The Roots of Success podcast is for the landscape professional who's looking to up their game. We've got a brain trust of experts to help you nurture the roots of a successful business and grow to the next level. This is the Roots of Success.
Hey guys, it's Tommy with Roots of Success podcast, and I've got an amazing guest today, and I will tell you, he's so amazing that him and I have the same last name. That's why this guy, Greg Cole, is amazing. How are you, Greg?
I'm doing great, brother from another mother.
This is an easy sell, right? Oh, this is great. When we met, it's been a couple of years we met. It's been really fun, and immediately you sent me some swag gear from your office, and I got the hoodie, I got everything, and they're like, "Wow, man, you represent your name real well." And I'm like, "Yeah, you have no idea, right?" I just kind of fit right in. Greg is the owner of Cole Landscaping out of the Boston, Massachusetts area. Super great guy, super great team. He's been on our list for quite some time to get in here, but he's been doing a lot of great things out there in his company and his team, and we're just really fortunate to have you on, Greg.
Thank you, Tommy. I appreciate it. I'm super excited to be here with you. I just love your podcast.
This is great. Awesome.
Yeah.
You can listen to your stuff here shortly. It'll be great. So let's get into this. Cole Landscaping, what the heck happened? How did it get started? Tell me a little bit of background, and we'll jump into all sorts of great stuff that we got on store for today.
Awesome. Thanks again. And Greg Cole, owner of Cole Landscape Inc. We're about 30 miles north of Boston, Mass. It's funny, in Boston, we have our own language here. So if you don't know what Uber is, car, or lobster, just take off the R and put on an A. And that's kind of how we talk.
Okay. A.
We're not in Canada, but we'll take the R out of lobster and put an A there. It's funny. I went to school for carpentry, and I soon learned that I didn't like it. And I went to work for 2 different landscape companies. And out of the 2 different landscape companies, to this day, I've learned 2 valuable lessons by them. My first boss that I worked for never paid us on time, and I had a lot of IOUs for our older people. So to this day, 34 years in business, I joke around, it's taken me 27 years to figure out how to run it. For 34 years, and I haven't missed one paycheck, so I'm very proud of that.
That's motivation. I will tell you that right now, right? That's just like me. But my motivation as a project manager, it was to never have a day where they couldn't show up in work.
Exactly. You take care of your people that take care of you. We've grown. I mean, this year we're just under 10 million, and we're on our way to 20. And we really scaled when we brought on our software platform, and we went tech in 2019. We actually 3X the company back from 2019 till today.
So Greg, what was the second thing you learned at your old landscape company? Was there 2?
Real simple. I mean, my last boss was just not a nice person.
Oh,
He would yell and scream and demote people. And to this day, I use that as a driver for myself to treat my staff with full respect. Yeah. And the person on the rake is just as important as the person in the excavator. They're all doing the same job, trying to make money for themselves, their families, and the company.
It's nice to have those experiences, although they were really hard at the time.
Yeah.
But you didn't know what's going to turn out of those experiences in your own company, right? And now look at you.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great. So let's jump right into this, Greg. We got tons of stuff to get through.
Yeah, let's go.
One of the things that is fascinating to me is about this software thing, this operational software. I'll tee it up. We're talking about some wins and losses. That got started around 2019, pre-COVID. And I'm sure COVID hit and probably threw a wrench in everything, and everyone wanted to bail out and figure, something else. But, they always say, Tommy, what's the best software? And I said, the best software is the one that you implement and use 100% of it. I don't care. Just use it, right? And so landscapers are just adamant about finding all the reasons what it can't do, but 98% of it is what it can do. And so take me through that. So you're thinking of a software, you're figuring it out, and then you're scratching the surface. Take me back to those days.
So 2018, we were interviewing 3 different software companies, and I ended up going with Aspire. Actually, Kevin Kehoe was my first seminar ever seen, and he was all numbers driven.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why do I need to know these numbers? I cut grass, right?
Yeah.
I don't even know the
I didn't
numbers.
get in this business for numbers.
Exactly. And now today it drives me more than ever with all the matrices. But backing up, 2018, we started to implement Aspire software. We made the decision to go with Aspire. It was probably the best decision I've made in my life. From there, my tech just took off. But we made a ton of mistakes on implementation, a lot of floundering. I think the biggest thing that we floundered on was we said, and Tommy, you just picked it up. You said they want it to do everything. Well, we tried to bend the software to Cole and
Oh gosh.
not listen to the implementers and say, hey, Greg, do it this way. And I think that was our biggest mistake. And we probably took 6 months to figure that out. And when we went to their methods and we held true to their methods, we just rocked and rolled. It was very fast to get over that hump. And then our biggest success was we had a team of 5 people that were on, we called our Aspire team. And we met every week for 2 hours, wins,
Okay.
losses. And we just kept a notebook. We didn't put it on digital at that point. We just kept a notebook and we said, hey, what are we winning? What are we losing? The wins, we learned from them. The losses, we tried to fix. And then we just put it out to our teams and we said, hey, find holes in this thing, punch the crap out of it, tell us what's wrong, and we'll fix it. And
Yeah.
we'll fix it. And Aspire's been a great partner to us since 2019. So it's at 5 years in. I was down at Ignite. I just spoke at the conference and absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved everybody that's with Aspire and everything we do with Aspire.
Yeah. So take me back. So the mistake was thinking we know how to be the engineers or we're going to build it our way. Right.
Jesus, Tom, I'm a high D personality, right? So
Totally.
it's like way or no way,
Yeah,
right?
and most people are, right? We learn how to do landscaping, and we want to be the software gurus that have spent
Exactly.
millions of hours figuring it out. It's like building a rocket ship. All of a sudden, it's the coal rocket ship to go to Mars, right?
Yeah.
And we want to argue with the system. How, as a leader, tell me about the experience. How, as a leader, able to get the team through that experience and out of it in a positive way? What helped?
Real simple is us as owners, we understand the end result. And anybody that's implementing any software, the owner or the head GM, manager, whatever you classify it as, has to be the driver of the bus. Doesn't know how to drive, know every nook and cranny, but know the end goal.
Yeah.
And I knew the end goal. And I just said, hey, team, 4 of the people, this is what I'm trying to accomplish. Let's work on it. And I just stepped back and let them do it. They came back to me and said, this is good, this isn't good. And we worked together, letting the people do what they do best. Because trust me, it's for me to type, I'm old school on the hen and peck method. So yeah, it's not me.
Yeah. And I hear a lot of times most owners will try to implement it themselves. They're the head guy that will just kind of run from it. And 99 times out of 100, that is not gonna work. The owner can't do that.
Work.
So you have to sort of coach and mentor them along and pick them up when they fall down, because it's going to happen and they're going to scrape their leg and they're going to fight. It's a normal procedure in life, right? So you're there to motivate and pick them up and keep them along the journey.
And just let them go. Let them do what they've been hired to do. And it's funny because I say, hey, manage your people, but don't micromanage them. There's a huge difference in that between manager and micromanage. You can manage and say, hey, listen, I'm going to do it I want you to do it this way. Tell me if you have any roadblocks, come back and see me, instead of hanging over their shoulder. And micromanaging demotivates people immensely. It's horrendous.
Yeah. Love it. So you talked about the success. This is just amazing, Greg, but the consistency of a meeting every single week to drive it. I've traveled the last several weeks as I do, and I talk about consistency in anything you do, whether it's, this, what I'm going to say, working out and exercising. It's brushing your teeth every day. It's putting the seatbelt on in the truck every day. It's
the little things.
What happens a lot of times is we get started and then we just don't want to do, and it's always the software's fault for not doing it.
Yeah.
But when you create a sense of consistency of every single week, all the time, that's a whole momentum. So for you to say that's massive. Anything to elaborate there?
Hold the team accountable. We're an EOS company, entrepreneurial operating systems. It's basically a way we communicate to each other. It's the way we set goals. It's the way we set a 90-day world. Hold to it. If you're driving the bus, you've got to hold people accountable in order to make this transition. It's not an easy transition. It's funny, I probably shouldn't even say this, but I call software implementation a root canal with no Novocaine. So let's think about this, right? So you have a toothache, right? And you're in pain. You're not in a ton of pain, but you're in pain.
I need it now.
You go to get the root canal. There's no Novocaine, right? And you're in a ton of pain. And then all of a sudden, boom, you're eating candy apples. You're out of the issue and you're rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
You've got to stay the line. No difference with working out. If you miss a day, that's great. If you miss 2 days in a row, there's a problem. You just keep going. Consistency throughout every meeting, same meeting agenda, same time, same place. And the only reason why you miss it is you're on vacation or you're dead.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. Consistency is the key. That's my recommendation to everybody out there in anything you do. It's got to be over and over and over and over. And where it lacks most times is there's no consistency. And at the end of the day, the team should hold you, Greg, accountable as well. It kind of works back up to the top of and if you're not consistent with it, then this is a fantasy world that Greg is proposing, but doesn't really care about it after a couple of months.
I think we call that yes men or yes people. You know, you don't want the yes people on the team. You want them to come back at you and say, Greg, Tommy, this isn't working. What are we going to do? You know, and not say, hey, you know, it's okay, Greg. We'll work through it. No, it's not okay. Let's fix it. Yeah.
Love it. Benefits of Aspire. What do you love about that software?
Oh my God. I could go on for hours, right? I kind of call it a cult. It's an Aspire cult, right? We all chant Aspire. I joke around with some of my good friends with that. But within 3 minutes of looking at everything that I have built out on Aspire, I see where the company is. I see where my dashboards, my gross profit on maintenance, my gross profit on design build, where we stand as a company, what do we have sold, we don't have in the pipeline, not sold in the pipeline. If we're doing a $400,000 project and we're in the middle of it, are we on track? Are we off track? Materials, labor, and subs. I mean, that's what they're in control of.
Yeah, those three things.
Yeah, they control how many materials, who they put on the job site, if they're overspending, underspending. It's super fast to see if we're on track or off track.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest things that I do is oh my God, I just love issues. Everything in my company is an issue, and we close somewhere in the lines of 150 to 200 issues a month. Okay. And every single call that comes in is an issue. If somebody sends me an email and says, hey, Greg, you know, Tommy called and you got to call him back, I just respond issue, put it in there because we track it.
Yeah.
And that's the most powerful tool that if it can be done right, or when it's done right, you add like the client experience. It's 1 to 3% of the bottom line.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. You know, we talk about this often, but we always want to know how the company's doing. And a lot of times we were like, okay, what's in my bank account?
Yeah.
What projects am I bidding? What cool equipment did I buy? And I'll look at the books every now and then to see if they look decent, and we'll go from there. That's kind of how we mostly run a business. It's no different than let's take a mid-level person, right? Yeah. Project manager and account manager. Well, I go see some properties, I check on it, I sell some work, I install some work, but I'm not sure, but we're making money, but we don't know if we're making money. But at the end of the day, everyone has a dashboard for the most part, right? Including yourself. We can see what is behind the curtain that we can't see, right?
Everybody has good and bad days, right? You might have a crew that has a bad day and you say, hey, you know, Jose, make it up tomorrow or make it up next week, however it be.
Yeah.
So we measure daily, weekly, and monthly. God, I think we got 11 TVs right now throughout the company, and everything's, you know, Aspire's posted on almost everything.
Explain the importance of TVs. I just had this conversation a couple of weeks ago. What does that mean? We have TVs.
So everything's Chromecasted, and we have 2 different computers that Chromecast throughout all the different TVs. And we put a company update. So people's birthdays, super important. I'm huge on culture. We want to recognize birthdays, anniversaries, those go on it, upcoming events. So it just scrolls. It's really, really pretty cool when you come down to it. And then we have dashboards to say on the maintenance, hey, are you coming in today? Good. On the dashboard, how's your week looking and how's your month looking? So if they're kicking butt, you know, they're going to kick some more butt. If they're not, then somebody that's kicking butt is looking at that. and saying, hey, Joe, what's going on? How come you're falling behind? So there's a ton of competition, and it's healthy.
Yeah. Yeah. What gets measured gets improved, right?
Yep. And then even with us, if I wanted to cast to a TV, I got a 70-inch in front of me right here. I just hit a button and cast to it. Everybody can see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's great. That's the new technology now, is casting dashboards and metrics on TV. So it's real-time information, right? That lets us know how we're doing on a daily basis. It's terrible to know that you can go 6 months or a year and not really know how you're doing. Right.
Oh, my
So
God.
it's frustrating at the end of the day. And some people are scared to even post the ones that, need some help or need some more training, but that's how we all get better at the end of the day.
I'll tell you, I was just in Aspen, Colorado at Good Earth
Yeah.
with my peer group, and we had some heated debate in our meeting, and I'm not going to mention names, but one person didn't know where they stand on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, and he says, I'm just going to look at the end of the year and see if I made money. And you just saw everybody's face kind of cringe and like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Why would you do that? You can correct it now.
Yeah. Yeah. In the middle of the game, right?
Yeah.
Middle of the game, make corrections.
And sometimes, you could be a day into a 20-day project and you're making corrections. I mean, you're a construction guy, right? You know how volatile that world is.
Yeah. It can change on a dime at the end of the day. And then all of a sudden you're looking back and go, what happened?
Yeah.
We shoulda. That
word should be taken out of the goddamn dictionary.
Yeah, get that out of here. I'm so over it. We should have. With all this technology and all these things that we have, embrace it 100%. If you don't embrace it now, I'm telling you, the bus is gone.
It's funny to say that, because if I look at everybody that I deal with, 25 to 30-year-old business owners, they understand tech. They grew up with it, right? Boom. I'm getting tech. I'm going to run the best software, whatever that software be, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not tagging any people, but anybody really over 30, they second guess it. Yeah. They would rather buy, as Kevin would say, an excavator versus a piece of software. And I can make an extra 10 or 15% just on the software end if I run my business correctly. And I can buy 10 excavators.
I love it. Software is sexy. So get it. And install it and use it every day. It's better than all the things that you have, 100%.
Yep.
I love it.
One thing that I will say is, don't make it perfect.
Yes.
Perfection is a killer.
Yeah.
You're not going to perfect. You're not going to make it perfect.
Love it. There's a thing that you use called Company Cam. I'm a huge fan of it. I know it very well. You guys, it's something that's awesome. It's really dominant in the construction, home building, GC, general contracting world. It's amazing. Tell me a couple of benefits of having that software.
Oh my God. I can't even where to start on that. So we're 14 months in. We just crossed 100,000 pictures. Wow. 100,000 pictures and videos, 14 months. Think about that. We have documentation on every single project, every single maintenance account, and we're just going to keep on building it. So it's an app that goes on somebody's phone or your employee's phone, but as fast as they can push the button with their thumb is as fast as it's uploaded to the cloud.
Yeah.
There's no data on their phone. There's no storage on their phone. Everything goes up. And they can see other projects within the company. We started about 6 months ago. We're running all of our pre and post checklists through that, all our punch lists. We are running our sales handoff from sales to production through that, where there's a 10-point checklist. And it timestamps it and says, Tommy, approve this today. And we know exactly who approved it. And it's total accountability, because if somebody doesn't do their role, we just go back and look and say, well, you signed off on this. How come?
Yeah. It's a system that you guys have built that pushes every human being, which we're all vulnerable as human beings, but it follows that process along the way. So of checks and balances, and you can't skip all the steps to get to, to the very end.
Plus a picture is what? Picture is worth, they say, 1,000 words.
Yeah. So how many pictures have you done?
We're just over 100,000.
Yeah. That is incredible, because you have documentation of everything, whether it be issues on the job, whether it be pre-pictures, post-pictures, warranty control, how to build things. It's a paper trail of everything.
Plus, and above and beyond that, we have our sales staff on it. So we have everything starred. So when they're talking to you, Tommy, as a salesperson, they just pull up pools. Boom. Here's all my pools. Plantings. Here's all my nightscaping. Here's all my nightscaping. Everything's there. If I want to change it as the owner, one place to change it, send it out to all my sales.
Yeah.
Super simple. It's probably the easiest software anybody will implement.
Yep.
It's that easy.
It's very easy. I love those guys a lot. I see them every year at the conferences and shake their hands and thank them for all the work that they do. That's good.
Yeah.
You did mention earlier the EOS system, the 9010, the 90 IO. Explain the importance, and let's back that. Why did you do this?
Everybody knows, I'm just going to say it, meetings suck, right? You get into a meeting, you hear about Samantha's dog and what they did last weekend, and they ramble on for, 3 minutes, and then you get to some work and nobody takes notes. And so 90IO is a platform with a strict meeting agenda. And just as I said, a spy is a cult.
Yeah.
90IO EOS is a cult. It's a way to report matrices to each other and share amongst teams. Currently, we have 14 different teams within call and meetings that I'm not even part of that I can see the meeting. So it forms a strict cadence. You share a segue. You only have a minute each to share a segue, which is a personal best and a company best for the last week. We go into data, which data is just a large Excel sheet that's on the 90IO platform. And if it's green, you're on track. If it's red, it's off track. It's an issue. We go through headlines, and then we cascade messages to other teams. So if Tommy had a win on the construction project this week, hey, the construction team is putting that up to all the other teams so they can see it's a win.
Nice.
So it's camaraderie. On our meetings, it's I don't know, it's, how can I put it to you?
Structured.
It's so structured, and I'm going to say fun. People might disagree. People might disagree with
your
me.
meetings don't suck as much anymore, or at all.
Well, they don't. They suck, but not as bad. So in your world, on the design build, it's funny because one person runs the meeting, so runs 90IO. One person takes notes and to-dos. One person runs company cam, because you have to remember, is your office staff and maybe an owner or somebody else doesn't know what these projects look like. And it brings the physical project with the data together. And then one person runs Aspire, and we'll run through $750 to $1 million worth of production in 90 minutes. And we'll have 20 to 80 takeaways from that to-dos.
Yeah.
And it's all on one platform.
Love it. Greg, so is there any other platforms that you use that we haven't mentioned?
We use a lot. We're fully cloud-based.
Okay.
And I drop about 200,000 a year on subscription. So it tells you how much we use.
Okay. And so the benefits of all this, let me ask you this. Is it too much for Cole Landscaping to have that? Or tell me the benefits of having that many and all togetherness.
So not one software, even if you build the software yourself, it's not going to be what you want.
Yeah.
So we just take bits and parts, and then we've been writing, not myself, but I'm not a coder. We've been writing open APIs together between different softwares. So now they're all starting to talk to each other, which has been phenomenal. We run a CRM and it's piggyback with Aspire. So everything flows back and forth to and from. We're going to open up Company Cam to Aspire so we can click right in through Company Cam and get in there. So there's a lot of good stuff happening. But the best part about being cloud-based is if you come to Cole, I give you a Surface Pro. It takes me 8 to 10 minutes to liven you up to every single software platform that you need. And if you leave us, it takes me 30 seconds to kill every software program. Yeah. It's the benefit of that is tremendous. I can't express it enough.
This is a tool no different than an excavator and a truck and
more important than that.
And a shovel, right? But this is the most important tool because you're taking the truck, the excavator, the crew member, and the shovel, and you're putting it all in the surface.
Yep.
Right? With all the applications and say, here you go, Tommy. Welcome to Cole Landscaping. This is everything you need to know of how to run your job efficiently. And that's what I like about it.
And what we've done above and beyond that is we have a whole loom library. So what we've been doing is we've been creating Loom videos, just everything under 2 minutes. Hey, here's how to enter a client into Aspire. Here's how to star a project in Company Cam. Here's how to use 90IO. So it's Cole's version of how we want them to use it. And let me just say that, 2019 till today, it's been a 5-year process. It does not happen overnight. It did not happen overnight for us. And I've gone to some of these Grow conferences and ACE conferences, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to buy that software. And I buy it and we run it for like 3 weeks and I'll throw it out. And I'm guilty as an owner of that. So we've been through a lot of programs.
Yes. And that happens. Listen, you're trying different things. You're getting new ideas. And that's what the owner does. But at the end of the day, you got to do something and stay with it and go all the way. The software and these apps are your tools to be successful. Why? Because they communicate within the entire team. They communicate with the client. They keep everything in one system. So you have dashboards built and you have the photos to back everything up. It's a collection of everything.
Hands down. And I don't know where I would be without that. I'd probably still be at, $1.5 million, $2 million.
Well, you would still have a dry erase board and write down
I miss the dry erase boards. I was just talking about that today in a meeting.
Yeah.
He said, we need to bring back the marker boards, we call them.
The reason why you miss is because you go in at night when people are gone and you erase stuff.
I love that. No, we had Post-its.
We're going to this job that I sold.
Change the Post-its. And I'm like, oh, that person doesn't need the excavator. I'm going to put it to this crew.
Yeah, because I want them all on my projects, and I want this client to be happy because I'm best friends with him. Yeah, that's why you want it. That's fascinating that you mentioned, Greg, I believe this younger generation is it very embraces the technology. It's just my world that I live in currently, and even at your age, we didn't embrace any of that. I'm going to figure it out myself.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it. And I'm going to fail 75 times before I figure it out. It may be 35 years later, right? Whereas this new generation goes, forget it, Greg, and forget it, Tommy. I'm not wasting my time with you two guys.
Yeah,
I'm going to do partner with people that are smarter than me. They embrace the technology and they just go and hit it. That's it.
That's exactly. You said it right on the head.
Yeah, there you go, man. You listen. Let's move into something else, Greg. You built a fascinating facility, and that is another. This is like in a software discussion. Second to that is this facility thing. Everyone talks about it all the time. And you went through it. I'm sure it was a piece of cake from start to finish. Super smooth, easy.
It was course. Yeah.
Talk about some wins and losses in that category.
Well, let me start. Back in the day, I had 7 people in a 19 by 15 foot office.
Yeah.
1 room, and that was it. When we left that facility, there was mushrooms growing on the floor. There was mold in the ceiling. And we moved to our second facility, it was only 20,000 square feet. And we were doing 5 million out of that. So 20,000 square feet of yard, shop, it was all together. Yeah. You couldn't move. And we were just clustered in there like sardines.
Yeah.
So when we searched for a new facility, we wanted the acreage, and we got 5 acres. And we moved, just as in 2019, we went tech here. We're 5 acres, we're 8,000 square feet of shop, 6,000 square feet of office. Currently, we're probably 90% grown into it. We're going to outgrow this probably in the next couple of years. So we're looking for a satellite.
Okay.
We have full wireless on any point in the 5 acres. Like I said, we have a ton of TVs scattered all around. We have no desktop computers. Period. Right. Everything's Surface Pro. They dock in. Everybody gets 3 monitors. They can be at Cole. They can be with a client. They could be at Starbucks, and they have the same look that they have at their office. No keys. Now let me say this. No keys. Right.
Okay.
So keys drive me crazy because if you a key, you lose it. Then who has the key? So everything here is fob. Everything's fob. It's funny. I was on my way to, I think it was an ACE group meeting, and somebody locked themselves out of the office, and I got right on my phone and unlocked it from 30,000 feet up. It's awesome.
That's so great. That's technology at the end of the day. I mean, keys are so outdated. And then you can turn on and off the fob, right?
Oh, yeah.
Onboarding, you get a fob. Yep. Exiting the company, it's shut off, whatever. Yep. So it's total control. You can see who comes in and out. So
But perfect example is our cleaners. Our cleaners come in at 5:30 every Tuesday. So they can get in only from 5 to 7 on a Tuesday morning. They can't come in on a Sunday afternoon. It won't allow them in.
Yeah.
So I set all those parameters in the background, which is such a peace of mind for myself.
Yeah. Love it. What are some things that you struggled with in getting the facility from the 19 by 15 all the way to the 5 acres?
Financing was tough because I wanted to build it a certain way, and it cost a lot of money to build it. Example, we dumped about $250,000 just into tech. So $250K just into tech. And some of the town ordinances were very hard to overcome. But when we did, we rocked and rolled. We were shut down 3 times here by the building department. And it was something simple as, hey, you didn't give me my permit for this. And I said, okay. I said, how much is the permit? He said, $250. And I said, I'll give you the $250 right now. He's like, no, you need a design. Well, the design was $15,000. The job was already done, and I had to spend $15,000. So some of the things like that were tough. You'd be surprised how much stuff you accumulate.
Oh boy.
Well, it was disgusting. So a lot of the lessons learned from our old were brought into this. One of the lessons that we learned was everybody didn't like bright lights in their office.
Okay.
So they would unscrew the bulbs, and that I would walk into somebody's office and there would be a light hanging with no light bulbs, and it would drive me crazy. So now we have no light bulbs in the place, and everything's on everything's LED beads. There's not one light bulb.
Yeah.
But my biggest takeaway or my biggest nugget to give out on this is do your homework up front. Make sure all your ducks in a row. And when the ducks are in a row, just go. Don't go as fast as you possibly can, because you have to remember it's such a disruptor to myself as an owner.
Yeah. And the entire team.
You're trying to run the business and build a facility at the same time. It's tough.
I think one of the experiences that is a good takeaway from this is embrace the technology in your new place, right?
Hands down.
Yep. I think that's one of the biggest takeaways that we don't look into. I think we look at, the square footage of the building and the shop and the acreage type deal, the physical things. I would compare it to, I'm going to saw a landscape here in Texas, but I won't put the irrigation.
Hands down.
Well, it's not the sexy thing, right? You bury it all. You don't get to see it at all. Right. Yep. It's like, what is going on? But by God, when you need it, you need it. So
I got comments left and right. Oh my God, you're nuts. What are you doing that for? Yeah. And then we moved in and we had a hard deadline of April 1st. And boy, construction, right, Tommy? Yeah. You don't miss the deadlines.
You don't miss them.
Oh, I ran it as a military op, and we moved in the day before, and everybody's like, now I know why you did that.
Yep. I love it. So we got a few more things to wrap up, but what are some 3 pieces of advice you could leave our audience that the Mr. Greg Cole has experienced in life and you live and die by it or whatever? What are some words of wisdom?
Oh God, it's going to sound cliche.
Too many, right?
Right. Yeah.
A whole other show.
This way, I fail more than I win. Okay. So, you don't try, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right? Wayne Gretzky or something like that said that. And it's going to sound cliche, but know your numbers. Okay. Everybody says that, but I'm going to piggyback it a little bit. If you're under $1 million, have QuickBooks Online, QuickBooks Test, whatever you want to classify it as, right? And know how to read a P&L, profit and loss, and a balance sheet. If you don't know how to read it, find somebody that can teach you or Google it, hands down. And then I think if you're over $1 million, get a good piece of software. There's so many out there, Aspire, LMN, the list goes on. And know the difference and understand the difference between invoiced revenue and earned revenue.
Okay.
That is a huge game changer in our industry.
So what is that?
So invoice is pretty simple. You send out an invoice, whether you've done the job or not. It should be a liability, right? Because you haven't been working on the property, but it could be false. I could bill Tommy out for $20,000, but I did $10,000 worth of work.
Mm-hmm.
Earned is exactly what it says. If we have a $100,000 job and we bill you $10,000 a month, there's going to be a point in that contract that you're ahead and behind if you're invoiced. Mm-hmm. With earned, if you month 1 have $20,000 worth of work that you performed, that's true earned income. Even though you haven't gotten the invoiced, right, you know what you're earning per week, per day, per month. It's a game changer. It took us, we didn't listen to Aspire. And it took us 2 years to figure that out. And when we did, oh my God, it's a game changer.
It's a game changer.
Yeah.
Yeah. What we think is just the invoice went out, we're good, right?
Yeah. It's funny. It's like my staff right now is trained. Oh my God, we billed that. I can say we billed $100,000 this week. And they'll say, nope, we didn't earn it.
Yeah. In the most fascinating world in construction, I know it best.
Yeah, you do.
Look at the top line revenue. We're like, woo, man, we're killing it. We're like, we're towards the end of the month, life's looking great. And then what happens? That concrete invoice miraculously appears the 7th day of the following month, and bam, puts you right back in your spot. The most frustrating, concrete XYZ, is a small mom and pop. They don't get it out all the time.
5 times.
Yeah. I've heard it all. We experienced it. We celebrated too early for years and years and years. And I feel like that's the difference between invoice revenue versus earned revenue. You haven't earned anything until all the expenses are in.
Hands down.
Great advice. Anything, experiences out there in the world you've learned?
Yeah, there's a couple other. Again, I'm going to go right back to it. Surround yourself with the best people. I'm going to give kudos to my staff. We're, I think, 60 somewhat people right now. I can't do this by myself. I don't want to do it by myself. And my people make this company look good. It's not me. And
better than Greg Cole, right?
I'm a high D, so I want to jump, just like you, Tommy. You want to jump in, you want to get in the excavator, you want to drive the truck. You can't. Let your people do their job and just get out of their way. I think Marty said it the best. The minute he got out of the way, boom, he scaled.
Yeah, love it. What else?
And then software, right? Software is not a set and forget model. And I thought about this, right? Hey, you buy a truck, you buy a mower, your mechanics are working on them, they're changing the oil, the guys are greasing them, right? There's no difference between software. Yeah. You need somebody to manage your platforms, because when you get into it, even with Aspire or a company cam or LMN, people aren't going to know what's happening. There's going to be a lot of training. You have new people coming aboard. You need one person to manage that software and keep everybody up to date. Like your mechanics, keep your trucks up to date.
That hits me pretty hard. It's not a set it, forget it. Let's think about that for a minute, Greg.
Okay.
That's the business we're in. You can't plant a shrub and walk away forever. Yeah. So what happens? You got to nurture it. You got to water it. You got to prune it. You got to take care of it. You got to prevent, treat the diseases and sicknesses. It's no different than your facility and your fleet. And most importantly, your people, right? You can't put someone out in a project manager, account manager role and go, you're going to need nothing from me. Good luck. And you got to swim, because that's where we live in. So I love not a set and forget it mantra. Great. Let me recap. I got Tommy's takeaways. I'm going to run through these. There's so many, Greg. I've got 4 pages of notes here. Let's run through this. 2 things you learned back in the day at the company. Never stop payment to your team, these IOUs for these young people out there. Never get involved in that. And always be a nice person. Take the high road at all times.
I'm not going to say a nice person. Be fair and treat everybody with respect.
Love it. Software. Don't bend it to your own way, right?
Yeah.
Accept the software. Let's move on. Assign a team or individual to run it and have consistent weekly meetings every single week. Rain or shine, busy or slow times, it doesn't matter, but consistency is the name of the game. Focus on the end result when you're the owner. Hold them accountable. The benefits in Aspire and Company Cam is the dashboards. I love dashboards that show progress daily, weekly, and monthly. Use the TVs, the Chromecast. You got 11 of them. Love it. Company Cam, punch list, sales production handoff, checklists, you name it. And the biggest thing of all, accountability for everyone.
No place to hide. There's
no one died. Yep. EOS is great. Your meetings used to suck. Now they don't suck as bad, right? You've got a structured an agenda. Let's get in and let's get the hell out and let's go do what we love to do in the landscape world. Love it. Facility wins and losses. Listen, I love the no keys. Just get rid of the keys. I've got clients that still wear the thing off their belt loop dangling around. I'm like, are we what world are we living in here? So do your homework, study things
Yeah.
about lights and get rid of old junk and move on. And we're so
Yeah.
emotionally attached to the one shovel that we had 25 years ago. And oh man.
I just got rid of my first Walker. It was a sad day. They were all out there. They're kind of like going like this. It
Yeah.
was like from 1997. So that tells you it was like 4 engines ago. And they're like, Greg, we're
Forever.
throwing this thing away. We're throwing it away.
Forever. Last but
Yeah.
not least, experiences is surround yourself with really good, amazing people. I swear by that. One of my favorites about the software is it's not a set and forget. You got to nurture it, grow it, train it, coach it, mentor, everything in it along the way. Greg, next week is our ACE Summit. It's our super fun trip into the year. All of our ACEs get together. ACE alumni get together. Our spouses get together. It is a super fun time. Share an experience with ACEs or Summit that you're just like, this is awesome.
I don't know where to start on that one. We're going into our 3rd year, and we're known as Aces Wild, but we lost a couple people, and that we're called Aces Mild now. I think we're all old, right? So it's an ongoing joke. But some of the people, or all the people that I met in there, it's like college. They're your brothers and sisters. A couple people that I can give a shout out to is David Amigo. David made a great friend of mine, and if it transfers onto the personal side also.
Yeah.
As I don't think my daughter would be going to college where she is without David's advice.
Wow.
David's kind of sometimes my little dad, and I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, what do you think of this?
Yeah.
And they're coming up to see us for 3 days, him and 7 of his staff, and we're going to spend 3 days together. And then we're going to role reverse that, and 7 of my staff are going down to see him.
That's great.
Tony from Angelo's.
Yeah.
Unbelievable company. My fuel system came from Tony.
Yeah.
Tony, who's got your fuel system? He turned me on to it. I can't, you think you're alone in this world, in the landscape world, and then you meet these people and you're like, holy crap, they're doing the same problems that I have, or, you can experience, share back to them. So it's been unbelievable.
Yeah. I 100% agree. We met, officially 3 or 4 years ago, you and I did. And I think I was the one that helped you get into the ACE program. We had lots of questions, lots of comments, lots of suggestions on where you should go and what group.
You weren't suggesting. You go.
Ever since then, it's been nothing but great things from Cole Landscape and Greg Cole and his entire team. David Amigo I visited his place years ago, and I thought it might have been one of the top 10 worst places I have visited. Now he's the top 10 most amazing peer group member I have ever seen, completely transform himself and his business and his son and his team. Absolutely give a shout out to that guy. Amazing.
I have this whole thing that I do, and it's funny because I fly in a day early to all my peer group meetings, and I sneak up on the company and I do a selfie and I send it to the owner. And I just did that to Jeff from Good Earth. Right. And I snuck up. I was there a day early. I went to his yard. I took a picture, and I'm like, Jeff, look, secret squirrel. And he calls me right up. He's like, where are you?
Get back.
Spend time with my team. And I spent time with his partner and his wife on facility development and what we went through. And I left that. I was just so happy. Happy to help. Yeah.
That's great. Greg, man, a super pleasure. You might be the coolest guy I've ever met. Greg Cole, Tommy Cole. This is a match made in heaven. It's awesome. I keep following you all the time. I see you around at the industry events, and it's just a blessing to have you guys and your entire team within our little inner circle of things, and nothing but the best for you guys and the entire Cole Landscape team. Give them my best. They're awesome. I've got your stuff posted here on my other monitor of watching all the videos of giving out to the community and the team camaraderie. It's fascinating. Keep it going, Greg. It's been a pleasure, and we'll see you soon down the road.
Thank you, Tommy. Enjoyed it.